Hello students, we were doing the second lesson of Science 1. We were talking about chemical changes and physical changes. On page 10, there were various activities given and we had discussed all. Now what are these activities telling us? The activities were telling us that the chemical change or the chemical reaction has taken place. Chemical reactions involves chemicals and there is bound to have some changes. The change in nature of the states can happen, there can be new gas evolved or the temperature of the substance can change, there can be some color change. So these are changes expected in chemical change. But how to show that change? How to write the chemical reaction? The chemical reaction can be written with the help of symbols and formulas. I had told you about that, taking some examples. But what is the actual definition of chemical equation? So I have written this: the representation of a chemical reaction with the help of chemical formulas is a chemical equation. So the chemical equation involves writing those reactants and products with the help of symbols and formulas. Now what to be mentioned in a chemical equation? This is very important. I have just told you what is a chemical equation, but what should come in that chemical equation or what should be included in the chemical equation? So first thing, there should be reactants. The substances or the things which are reacting, they are called as reactants, and reactants are always written on the left hand side of the reaction or left hand side of the chemical equation. So on the left hand side of the chemical equation, whatever is written is the reactants. Then second thing which is important in a chemical equation is the products. Now products are the new thing which is formed. We all know that chemical change involves the formation of new substance, and that new substance which is formed actually is called a product. So product is written on the right hand side. When I am writing RHS, it means right hand side. When I am writing LHS, that means it is on the left hand side. Then there is a symbol which we use, plus sign. Now this plus sign is used between the reactants or between the products. If there are more than one or two reactants, we will show those names with the plus sign in between. And when there are more than one product, then also we show the products with the plus sign, so that we know that these two or these three products are formed, or these two or these three reactants are taking place. That means they are reacting. Then there is another thing which has to be mentioned in the chemical equation, this arrow mark. This arrow mark should be after the reactants. I wrote the reactants with the plus sign, then I will show with the arrow. This arrow is written after the reactants or before the products. Then fifth thing which is important is to be written the states. Now what are the three states which you all know? Solid, liquid and gas. So these three states have to be mentioned under the reactants or the products. For example, if the reactant is solid, we write S for it. If a reactant is a liquid, we write L for it. Or if a product is formed where gas is formed, we write G for it. So there are symbols which has to be stated for the states. Then next things which is required is conditions. Now what are conditions? Conditions means some reaction take place at room temperature, but some reactions require a higher temperature where we provide heat. So what do? When we write a reaction, we put a arrow mark. Above the arrow mark, I can write that heat is provided. Okay, now if I say the temperature is provided and pressure also is increased, so I can write so and so pressure. Or if I want to say that any equation or any reaction is taking place in the presence of a catalyst. Now catalyst is a substance which actually involves in the reaction but does not take part in the reaction. It changes the speed of the reaction. So catalyst, it can be, for example, nickel. If there is a catalyst involved in a chemical reaction, I can write this Ni for nickel. For example, when we do the hydrogenation process means when we change the vegetable oils into vegetable fat. Now this is called as hydrogenation process. This is involved in the organic chemistry. So when I take vegetable oil, I want to change it into vegetable fats. What do? I react with the hydrogen. So when the vegetable oil reacts with hydrogen, but it reacts only in the presence of a catalyst, that is nickel. So I will write that nickel either up or down of the arrow. So if nickel is required as a catalyst, I will write like this. I will not write on the left hand side. I will not write on the right hand side. I will write above or below the arrow. So these are the various conditions required. Sometimes in the case of photosynthesis, photosynthesis involves the reaction between carbon dioxide and water, but it requires chlorophyll, it requires sunlight. So where will I write these conditions? Those conditions are written like this. I will write sunlight. That means this type of reaction is taking place in the presence of sunlight. If I am writing chlorophyll, that also shows that chlorophyll is required for the reaction to take place. So this is the meaning when I say the conditions which is written above or below the arrow. Last part is the balancing part. Now which is very important, which is the next part of this lesson, which I am going to take in detail with the help of reactions and equations. What is balancing the equation? Balancing the equation, why is it necessary? Now according to the law of conservation of mass, now there is an activity given, 2.6 activity on page 12. When I will read out the activity, you will come to know what I am trying to tell. Take a small piece of used paper, weigh it on an electronic balance. Now used paper I am taking, just one paper, and I am putting it on an electronic balance. A balance which works on electricity and it shows a digital weight. Now burn the piece of paper and now weigh the ash. You take a piece of paper, you take its weight. Suppose it is say 5 grams, suppose 10 grams. Okay. Now if I am burning this paper and I am taking that ash and again weighing it, will you find any difference in it? Just think about the answer. Will you find the difference in the weight? Now here I had a whole paper, now I am having an ash. That means this paper has reacted with oxygen of the air when I burn it. When I burn it, it turned into ash and some type of gas was evolved. Now that gas has escaped because I have not trapped it. So will the weight will be less or will be more than the original paper? In this case, the paper, if it had 5 grams weight, one thin paper, if I burn it, you might find that it may be 4, 4.2, 4.5. It will not be 5. Why? Because whatever gas has come out, it has escaped in the air. We have not trapped it. If I had trapped it, I would have found that exact weight before the reaction and after the reaction. So we are trying to tell you that there is a law of conservation of mass. It said that the mass of the reactants remains same after the reaction also in the form of products. Mass does not change. So how we will show it on the paper? How will I show it? With the help of chemical equation. Now simple thing, chemical equation when it is written, we are writing the number of atoms, the number of molecules depending on its formulas. But how to balance it? Now balancing means the number of atoms of any element on the left hand side should be equal to number of atoms of that element on the right side. So I'll show you with one of the example. I'm writing a simple equation. Copper gets heated in air. That means when I heat copper, it reacts with oxygen of the air. It forms a product which is called as CuO or copper oxide. So this copper oxide, this is the reaction. Simple chemical equation I have written. Chemical equation involves the symbols and the formulas. What is the formula of copper? Cu. What is the formula of oxygen? O2. What is the formula of copper oxide which is formed? CuO. Now as you can see, this is a one molecule of oxygen. One molecule of oxygen contains 2 atoms of oxygen. This 2 written on the right side, lower side, shows the number of atoms. Now you should ask me a question. There is nothing written here. That means what? When there is nothing written on the right side of any formula, it means 1. It means there is only one atom in one molecule of oxygen. This oxygen is called one molecule. So one molecule of oxygen is made up of 2 atoms of oxygen. Now that is why the formula O2 has come. Now, what is balancing the equation? As I said, it is depending on the law of conservation of mass. The mass does not change. That means the number of atoms on the left side of the equation, this is the left side, should not change, and then it should remain on the right side of the equation also. So now how to do it? Now when I am writing nothing, it means 1. We do not write 1 generally. Now on this we can start how to start the balancing the equation. Now all of you have seen a balance. How does it get balanced? Well, if I am taking 1 kg potato, what the person does, he keeps a potato on one side on one pan and 1 kg weight on the other pan. 1 kg weight is constant. So he will go on putting the potato till the balance is equal. That means he is trying to balance that 1 kg with the potatoes. So how many potatoes? Maybe 8 to 10 potatoes will come. So that is how he is balancing the both the pans. Here also we are trying to balance with the number of atoms. Now here you can see, here the number of atoms are 2. Here the number of atom is 1. I told you when there is nothing written, it means 1 and 1. That means here copper 1 and oxygen 1, but we do not show in a formula. 1 we do not show. So whenever we have to start the balancing the equation, always start with the molecule having the maximum number of atoms. Maximum number of atoms means you can see in this reaction, oxygen is only 1 which is having 2 atoms. Rest all have 1. So we can start with the oxygen. How to start? First step, count the number on the left side. On the left side, oxygen has 2 atoms. On the right side, oxygen has 1 atom. Copper has 1 atom and copper has 1 atom. That means in short I can say copper is balanced. Copper, the number of atoms on the left side and the number of atoms on the right side of copper is same. So there is no need to balance it, right? Then what about oxygen? On the left side there are 2 atoms of oxygen. On the right side there is 1 atom of oxygen. Now I want to balance it. When we start balancing, now I want to see that number of atoms here are 2. Here also it should become 2. But while making 2, can I write it like this? No, this is wrong. You cannot change the formula. When I am writing CuO and 2 here, I am totally changing the formula, which is completely wrong. I cannot write 2 here. Then where should I write 2? Can I write 2 here? No, because again I am changing the formula. Formula doesn't change when we balance a chemical equation. So I cannot write 2 here to balance. I can write for balancing, I can write only on the left hand side of the formula of any product. Any product or any reactant, if I want to balance it, I can balance it by writing the number only on the left side of the formula, never on the right side of the formula. If I write the number on the right side of the formula or in between the formula, I am changing the formula, and that's wrong way of balancing. So I write 2 here, that means before the formula. This 2, now this 2 becomes common for copper also and oxygen. Here oxygen were 2 atoms. Here also when I write 2, I have made oxygen 2 atoms. Correct. But now in that process, what I have done, I have made copper also 2. So this 2 stands for copper also, this 2 stands for oxygen also. 2 is common to both copper and oxygen. So I have tried to balance oxygen. Now here oxygen has become 2. But what about copper? Copper has become 2 here. In that process, copper has become 2. So I have to make here also copper 2. So what I will do, can I write it here? I cannot write on the right side of the copper formula. So this is wrong way. I can write only on the left side. So I have written 2 here, left 2 copper. Now we can check it. How to check? We'll start. Copper 2 here, copper also here 2. Here oxygen 2 atoms, here oxygen also 2 atoms. That means on the left hand side 2 and 2, on the right hand side 2 and 2. That means this reaction is balanced reaction. Now this reaction is called as balanced chemical equation. The balancing is very important to make the number of atoms on the left side equal to the number of atoms on the right side. Let us take another example which is given in your book is FeS plus H2SO4. What is FeS? Iron sulfide or ferrous sulfide. It is reacting with sulfuric acid, hydrogen sulfide. So it is forming FeSO4 plus H2S. Now this is the reaction given to us. How to see whether the reaction is balanced or not? We have to count the number of atoms one by one. Let's start from the left side. How many on the left side? First is iron. How many on the total number of iron on the left side? I can see only 1. Sulfur, I can see 1 and 2. We have to see the symbols of sulfur. So how many? 1 and 2. So I'll write 2. Then how many hydrogens are there? 2. So I'll write 2. How many oxygens are there? There are 4. So on the left hand side, I have so many number of atoms which I have to see whether the same number is present on the right side. Now here in the right side, Fe is how many? You can see it is 1. So Fe and Fe1, correct. We have balanced it. How many S? 1 and 2. Total number of S on the right side we have to see. We don't only have to see the one formula. So S 1 and 2. So let's see 2SS2. Yes, it is balanced. Then hydrogen, how many here are present? 2. So hydrogen also is 2 here. And oxygen, it is 4. So this is 4. When equal number has come, that means this chemical equation was already balanced. This is the way we have to find out. This way is also called as hit and trial method. That means we are hitting and trying out. So this is called as hit and trial method of balancing the chemical equation. Now we'll see 2 more examples which are given in the book and some questions are based on it. I'll first try to explain you the types of reactions which are written. C12H22O11, and this reacts with oxygen, and this is actually the formula of sugar. Any sugar which is shown in this way, C12H22O11, it reacts with water. Now what I have written here, S, that means I have written the states. This sugar is in the solid form, that is S. Water is in the liquid form. Now arrow is made, something is written above the arrow and below the arrow. Above the arrow, concentrated HCl. That means in the presence of concentrated HCl, this reaction takes place. HCl is hydrochloric acid. Then 323 Kelvin, that is the temperature which is required for this reaction to take place. And this reaction is also it is requiring an alcoholic base. So these are the conditions which are required for this reaction to take place, and as I said, conditions have to be written above or below the arrow. Then it forms 2 types of sugars which are called as glucose and fructose. C6H12O6 plus C6H12O6. These are the common formulas for sugar, that is the glucose and the fructose. Now second type of reaction which is given in your book is the ethylene changing to polyethylene. Now what is ethylene? CH2 double bond CH2. which you will be learning in Science 2. Ethylene is a carbon compound, CH2, double bond CH2, that means n times it is reacting in the presence of high pressure and high temperature. High temperature can be shown in this symbol also, a simple triangle which shows that temperature is required, high temperature is required. So when you write with the help of an arrow, above and below, you have to write the conditions required. This is the general formula of polyethylene. That means this double bond is removed. Instead of the double bond, some other element is attached and double bond becomes single bond. And this number of units are attached to each other, and that is why it is called as polyethylene. This type of reaction, the questions are some questions are based on it. Page number 13, there are some questions based on these two reactions. First question, name the reactants and the products in equation 10. Now this is the equation 10 which is given in your book. What is the name of the reactant? This is sugar. You can write down, this is sugar, this is water. So the reactant's name is sugar and water. Then what is the name of the process in the equation 11? This is the 11 given in your book. This is known as polymerization. This is the process which is called as polymerization, and here also it involves the ethylene. Ethylene, which is the name of the reactant, polyethylene is the name of the product. Here sugar and water are the name of the reactants, and glucose and fructose are the name of the products. So these are the questions which are based on these chemical equations. This was on page number 13, first question. Now page number 13 only, second question is, write the balance equation for the following reaction. They have given us a word reaction. As I told you last time, instead of using the symbols, if I use the word, that means barium chloride, total word I am writing instead of symbol, that is called as word reaction. They have given us word reaction. We have to convert it into chemical equation. Let's see how to do it. So barium chloride reacts with sulfuric acid. Barium chloride formula is BaCl2. Sulfuric acid formula is H2SO4. They have given us in word. We are converting it into chemical equation. It gives barium sulfate and hydrogen chloride. So barium sulfate formula is BaSO4 plus hydrogen chloride is HCl. This is the reaction which we have converted from word equation to chemical equation. Barium, Ba, chloride, Cl2. Total is barium chloride formula is BaCl2. Sulfuric acid formula H2SO4. Barium sulfate formula BaSO4, and hydrochloric acid is HCl. Now these are the symbols which we are using, or the formulas of that reactants and products. How to balance it? Now let's see, start from first reactant Ba1 here Ba1, correct? Now here Cl2 are there, but here Cl only 1 is there, nothing is written, that means it is 1. Then what to do? To make that 2, I can simply write 2 here. Okay, so in that process I have made Cl2. Hydrogen here 2. So I had tried to balance chlorine. Now in that process hydrogen also got balanced, because this 2 is common for hydrogen as well as chlorine. Then 1 sulfur, 1 sulfur. Oxygen 4, oxygen 4. So now only by writing 2 in front of HCl, this reaction or this chemical equation is balanced. This was the third question on page 13. This was the second question on page 13. Now third question. Write the physical states of the reactants and products. They have given us one equation. Now let's see what equation they have given. And we have to write only the states, that means whether it is solid, whether it is liquid, whether it is gas, whether that solution is made in water. If the solution is made in water, we call it aqueous solution, AQ. So let's see, AgNO3 plus NaCl. AgNO3 plus NaCl gives AgCl and NaNO3. Gives AgCl plus NaNO3. This is the reaction. What is AgNO3? This is silver nitrate. So you can say silver nitrate. Now this silver nitrate is generally taken in the solution form. Silver nitrate powder is obtained, add in water and nicely mix it in a test tube. So when I am making this solution in water, actually I am making it an aqueous solution. So you will write the state AQ. AQ stands for aqueous. Aqueous means when the solution is made in water. Then NaCl. NaCl is also common salt which we find at home. This common salt also is made into a solution. That means water is added to the common salt, nicely mixed up, and then we get here also aqueous solution. So the states, it is in liquid form, but since we are making it in water, it is called as aqueous. Then we get AgCl. Now this we get as precipitate. When I write PPT, PPT stands for shortcut for precipitate. It is solid, so I will write S. It is a solid precipitate which settles down, which does not dissolve, so it is a precipitate which is in solid state. And NaNO3, now because this was aqueous, this is also in a liquid form which we get, and we write L for it. So these are the states which are required to be written in the chemical equation. Another chemical equation is given where we have to write the states. Zinc and hydrochloric acid. Zinc Zn, hydrochloric acid HCl. This is a metal which is reacting with an acid. It will form ZnCl2 plus hydrogen. Now this is a reaction where again states are required. Here zinc metal is taken. It is metal. It is no solution we cannot make of metal. So metal is solid. So I will write S. Now HCl. This is a we take generally dilute HCl, and this dilute HCl if I take, I will dilute it with the addition of water. So it becomes aqueous solution AQ. Then I get a product which is known as zinc chloride. Zinc chloride generally we get in a liquid form. You can write it in aqueous form also, because here the liquid state is there. So L I have written for liquid state, and this hydrogen gas is formed, so I write G for it. So G means gas. Many of the books you might see this type of symbol used for gas. The arrow pointing upwards is gas, and arrow pointing downwards is for precipitate. So here I can use this symbol for AgCl, and here hydrogen I can use this symbol pointing upwards for gas, which is hydrogen. This is how we can write the states. But now you see whether this reaction is balanced or not, whether this chemical equation needs balancing. I think so. Let's see. Hit and trial method. Here zinc 1, here zinc 1, here hydrogen 1, but here hydrogen 2. So can I write 2 here? No. If I write H2Cl, I am changing the whole formula. That is wrong. So where should I write? I should write on the left side of the formula. So H2. Now this 2 is common for Cl also. So here in that process I have made Cl also 2. So here also Cl2. Now my reaction is balanced reaction, or you can say it is a balanced chemical equation. This is how we can write the states. This is how we can balance the chemical equation, and this balancing is called as hit and trial method.